Hey guys, it's Sarah and welcome to Books for Tea. So around 1 year ago I did a huge book unhaul with over 50 books, and it felt really good to get all of these books off my shelves and get rid of books I really don't need anymore. And recently BookTube has gone through a really big unhauling phase where basically everyone started unhauling their TBRs and going through their bookshelves, and I really wanted to do it as well. I've actually picked out all these books quite a few weeks ago, but I wanted some time to really think about what books I want to get rid of, and today I'm ready to show them all to you. There are over 80 books in this video. Just a quick disclaimer, because obviously if some of these books are your favorite books, do not be offended. I'm gonna go through the books that I had already read and want to get rid of now because I didn't really enjoy them, but that's just my personal opinion, and then I'm gonna go through the larger pile of books I've just lost interest in that have been on my TBR for too long and I never decided to pick them up. And obviously I don't know how good these books are, I just don't really plan on reading them anymore. Let's get right into this video. There are 80 books in this, so let's get on it. As I said, I'm starting with books that I have read but don't need on my shelves anymore. The first one is Dragons of Light, or in the US I think it's called The Ice Dragon, by George R.R. Martin. Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, the first and the third book in the series. For some reason I only own those two. I've read them both. I really loved the first one the first time, but I've just completely lost interest in the series and don't plan on continuing. And I Darken by Kirsten White, which I just didn't really enjoy. I only rated like 3 stars. Honey Girl by Lisa Freeman, which is about a Hawaiian bisexual girl, and I'm glad that there was bisexual representation in this, but I don't think it's own voices, and overall I just didn't really love it. Anders frei als du by Christine Feher, a book about a German girl who becomes a Muslim and starts wearing a hijab and how that affects her life. I didn't really enjoy it, it wasn't own voices, and I think that there's stories out there written by Muslim authors that are way better than this. Quarter Life Poetry by Samantha Jane, which I just didn't like. The Snow Spider by Jenny Nimmo, which I really enjoyed as a child but reread recently and only gave it 2 stars. 2 David Levithan books I didn't really enjoy. Boy Meets Boy and Naomi and Ellie's No Kiss List, which is co-written by Rachel Cohn, and they're just not really my thing. Soundless by Rochelle Mead, which I think I liked when I first read it, but don't ever want to reread it. And this has to do with Asian culture and deaf culture, and none of these were own voices, and I've heard some problematic things, so nope. The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson is a book about a trans main character, but it's once again not on voices, and looking back on it, the rap wasn't really good. I've heard some problematic things. I mean, even when I read it, I found some things kind of problematic, but now that I'm like more sensitive towards the topic, I'm like, I don't need this, thank you very much, so I can go, and I definitely want to read on voices trans novels instead. Moon at 9 by Deborah Ellis, which I didn't really like and is about LGBT people in Iran, and once again it wasn't on voices but written by a white woman. Then we have the If I Stay duology by Gail Forman. It was super meh, to be honest. I kind of liked the first book when I read it, didn't like the second one, and German covers are really pretty but I don't need them on my shelf anymore. Cassie by Barry Johnsberg, which I didn't really like. The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, which I read I think 2 years ago, but really never wanted to continue on with the series, and even when I first read it, there were some things I really didn't like about it, so this does not need to go back on my shelves. Aus der Tausendspiegel by Susanne Gerdom. I DNF'd this year, didn't like it at all, one of the worst books I've read. I mean, I didn't finish it, but it was super problematic, and goodbye! And then lastly, Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendra Blake. I rated this a 3 out of 5 when I read it many years ago, but don't ever want to reread it and really don't need this anymore. So those are all of the books that I've already read and now unhauled. And now let's get into my TBR, definitely the largest pile. My goal for 2017 was to get my TBR down to 50 books, even if that meant unhauling a lot of them. So I definitely did good at unhauling all of these books that have been on my shelves for so long, and I wanted to read them in 2017, but once again I didn't get to them for a whole year, so now they're all going. I still didn't manage to get my TBR down to 50 for some reason. I have such a problem, but I am gonna get rid of all of them, and it's gonna be such a good feeling to have a much smaller TBR for 2018, and I will be making a video all about the books that are still on my TBR and that I kind of all want to read this year basically, so that will come up very, very soon. But let's get into this huge TBR unhaul pile. First we have The Lord of the Rings by J.R. Tolkien, The Fellowship of the Ring, first book in the series. I don't really know why I own this. It's a mass market paperback. I never read those. I think I mainly bought this because it was super cheap and I wanted to have it for pictures. I don't know. I've had this for so many years. I don't intend on reading this edition. I have really beautiful German editions. I don't know when I will get to them, but I have them on my shelves and I do not need this. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. A pretty recent buy, but the edition is really ugly, and if I ever read it, I want to have a really beautiful edition, plus it's not a priority for me right now. The Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. I don't know, I just had them for a really long time on my shelves and never once felt the urge to pick them up. I think they're just intimidating with the size. I've already gotten rid of the first book. I did a little book swap with a friend, but yeah, I don't need these on my shelves. They can go. Then we have Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I don't really tend to really read classics, to be honest. If I ever get to it, I might like it, but then again, I will get myself a prettier edition than this. Goodbye. Then we have another one that's maybe a little bit controversial, and that is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I love this cover. I think I mainly bought this because of the cover and because of the super cool inside of the dust jacket. I've been in love with this for years. I got it when it was super cheap, like €5 I think, and I wanted to read it because I've read one other Morgan Matson and I did enjoy it, but I've just lost interest. I don't really read these cutesy contemporaries anymore, so it has to go. Then I have A Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. I got this many years ago. I started this many years ago. I read until page 120, DNF'd it and never picked it back up again, and it must have been like 3 or 4 years, maybe longer, I don't know. But I've lost all interest in this. I already decided that I wasn't really gonna finish it, but I wanted to keep it on my shelves because it's J.K. Rowling, but I don't feel that way anymore. I'm more than happy to have a huge Harry Potter collection, but I really don't need her other books on my shelf if I have zero intention of reading them. Then we have Never Let Me Go by Kazura Ishiguro. I'm sure this is good, but I never felt the urge to read this. Eiler and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. Really don't like Anna and the French Kiss anymore, and maybe I would like this, but once again, not really into cutesy contemporaries at the moment. Partals by Dan Wells, another book that came in a subscription and I don't really have interest in it. So the next one, brace yourself, is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, but in a German edition. If I ever read this, and I really do want to read this, I want to read the English original. I got this as a birthday present. I'm still super grateful for my friend who gave me this, but I don't need it. I'm never gonna read this in German. Next one we have 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. Been really excited to read this, but never picked it up, and normally I want to get into a whole series or trilogy, so it has to go. Then we have The Probability of Miracles by When You Wonder, another one that came in a subscription service. The next one is Nixlia by Scott Rainskin. I got this in the Illumi crate, the most recent one I think. It's an ARC for the book. I've heard nothing but great reviews for it, but I don't know, I don't feel like I really want to read this sci-fi book, so it's going. Then I have Elias Hook by Lisa Jansen, an other subscription book that I never got to and has been on my shelf for way too long for me to really think that I'm ever gonna pick this up. More books that go with the I don't really read classic vibes are The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. I read 2 Sherlock Holmes novels, didn't really love them, don't really need them. I got these when I was super obsessed with the TV show like 5 years ago. I still like Sherlock, but I don't need them on my shelf. It just feels so good to not have these books that I'm super hesitant about but kind of want to keep on my TBR. I just don't need them in my life anymore. Another J.K. Rowling book is The Cuckoo's Calling, which I don't think I'm ever gonna get to. I once picked up a really cheap audiobook at a supermarket, I think, and that's How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. Don't need this. Another subscription book, Nexus by A.L. DeVroe. No, I'm not gonna read it. A book I was gifted but sadly have zero interest in. How to Get Filthy Rich in Rising Asia by Mohsin Hamid. Then the sequel to The Fifth Wave, The Infinite Sea. No, I just don't want to continue with the series anymore. A book that sounds super interesting, but I don't know, I'm never picking it up, and that is Stardust by Lisa Pierce. Then I have The Spectacular Now by Tim Harp, which I thought I might like, but read the first chapter and thought that it sounded really weird and sexist and I don't need it. And then a book that came in a past Illumicrate, I believe, When We Collided by Emery Lord. I'm pretty sure I've heard good things about it, but it's been on my shelves for years and I'm just not reading it, so it has to go. The next book I got from the lovely Janine from the channel Poesilos, and that is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Other Short Stories by Washington Irving. And this has such a cool cover, and she gave it to me like around Halloween time, so it was super cool. But I tried reading this and wasn't interested at all, so it has to go again. Sorry, Janine. Next one is another pretty controversial one, but I'm getting rid of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I've been super hyped about this for some time, never got to it, and I've owned this for so long now. So I guess I'm never gonna read it. I read the first Throne of Glass novel and I liked it, but I don't really want to continue. And I don't think I want to start this new series, especially because a lot of people said that the first book isn't really good and it only gets good at book 2. And I don't need that in my life, like for real. This is so beautiful. So many people are standing this. I might feel bad and left out whenever this is talked about, but honestly, I don't want to invest that much time of my life into a book I might not really enjoy, so this is going away. Kind of the exact same is with Shadow Me by Tahereh Mafi. I know that some people really like this, but so many people also said that it's like such a cliche YA book, and I know that it is because it's like one of the original YA series, but I don't have an interest in it anymore, so it's going. Next one we have The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, and yeah, I don't need this. I don't think I will ever read this edition because it's so tiny, mass market paperback-ish, and don't really enjoy that. If I ever do read this, my mom actually has a German copy, so yeah, let's get rid of it. The next book is The Humans by Matt Haig, and I was wanting to read this for such a long time. It's one of my oldest books on the TBR for sure. Probably been here for like 5 years or something. And I always said, yeah, I'm really excited to read it, but I haven't picked it up in 5 years, so no, Sarah, you're not actually excited to read it. Next is another one from a more recent haul, and that is Emil and the Detectives by Erich Kästner. German childhood classic, and when I hauled this I said that I really wanted to read it just because I wanted to get to know more German literature, classic literature, children's lit, but honestly it's just taking space on my shelves and I know it's not gonna be a book I would really love, so I don't need to get through this. Then I have Where Things Come Back by John Corey Whaley, and I really wanted to read this because Jessie the Reader recommended it a lot, but it's been on my shelf for too long. Haven't picked it up, haven't shown real interest, so it's going. Then we have I Am the Messenger by Markus Zusak. I loved The Book Thief when I read it many years ago, but same as with the other one, it's been on my shelf for like 4 or 5 years, so just not gonna happen. So the same story is also with How I Live Now by Meg Rosoff. Then I have another subscription service book that I was excited to get to, but once again I don't really want to start a new series right now, and that is The Winner's Curse by Marie Rutowski. Then I have one that I actually only recently traded with a friend, and that is Calendar Girl by Audrey Carlin, the first book in a, I don't know if it's called new adult series, but this, I tried to get into this and I don't like it at all, so it's going. And then I'm also getting rid of Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I still haven't read The Mortal Instruments. I've been thinking about getting rid of that as well, but I don't really want to get rid of my beautiful hardcover matching spines edition that I have, so I am keeping those, but I am getting rid of this because it's the only one in the Infernal Devices series that I own, and if I ever will finish the other books and want to get into them, I'm just gonna buy like a matching series or something. I don't need this on my TBR shelf, just taking up space. I also have this collection of John Green books, all of his books except for Turtles All the Way Down. This is kind of different. I just want to give this away on my Instagram at some point, so it's on the unhaul pile. I have some kind of weird book. The first one is a French book I picked up when I was in Paris 3 years ago, and this is about Dracula, and as I said, it's in French and I don't even speak French, so you can see my book buying problem. And then we have a little like collector book, kind of like Rectus Journal, but a little different, and I'm never going to use this, so I'm getting rid of it as well. Secrets in Phoenix by Gabriella Lepore. I'm pretty sure this was published by Of Tomes. Yeah, I got it because I wanted to support Benjamin Of Tomes, who's a booktuber you probably know. But I tried reading the first chapter and wasn't really interested. And I have Fishbowl by Bradley Soma, which is written from the perspective of a goldfish, I believe. And I was really excited for this, but never read it in many years, so it's going. A book that I won in a German giveaway a long time ago, Das zerstörte Leben des West Trench by Tom Cooper. Nachts ist es leise in Teheran by Siba Batia. My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. They're all completely besides ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. I've had this for over 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, probably one of the longest books on this TBR. I got it on a trip to Norway and I've always been wanting to read it, but never have, so now it's just gonna go away. We All Looked Up by Tommy Wallach, which I actually DNF'd. So wüst und schön sah ich noch keinen Tag by Elizabeth Laban, which I also got in a subscription and don't really want. Hope Forever by Colleen Hoover, and I'm just super over Colleen Hoover, so this is going away. Im Jahr des Affen by Q Dulu. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I got this in a book swap without even the dust jacket and never picked it up. Then we have Auf ewig dein Time School by Eva Völler. A pretty popular German book, I think, also a pretty new release, but I think it's a spin-off to another series and I'm not interested in it. It's actually even signed by the author, so I'm trying to find a fan of this who maybe this book will make very happy. I think I only have one final book left, and that is This Raging Light by Estelle Laurie. This is a German edition. Love the cover. Don't want to read it. Just a cutesy contemporary, I think. Not for me. And that is it. I hope I didn't make any mistakes when adding up this book, but I think those were 80 books, which is crazy to me. Like, my bookshelves are still full. Like, I can fit some new things in there, but they're still full of books. My TBR is still huge. Like, not 100 books huge. I don't want to get back to that level, but it's still huge. And I don't know, I'm just so happy to at least have all of them done. I don't think I'm gonna miss them on my shelves, and I might move in 2018, so the less books I have to carry with me, the better. So yeah, that was really, really great. Actually, if you are from Germany and are interested in any of these books, you might DM me on Twitter or Instagram these next couple of days, and I'm trying to get rid of all of them. So if you are, or if you're really willing to pay like a huge amount of shipping, if you're from anywhere else, let me know. If you're thinking about maybe unhauling books, I recommend you to just go out and do it, because it feels so good to get rid of all of them. So yeah, I definitely want to continue unhauling my books every now and again, going through all of my shelves and just getting rid of everything I don't need anymore. At the moment I still have them all here and have them like stacked up in my room, so they're still in my house, still in my possession, but I want to get rid of them as soon as possible, because it's just, I don't need them in my life. I'm happy when they're all gone. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely subscribe to my channel if you like this video and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to comment, because I love reading your guys' comments. Also, please don't leave hate comments, because I unhauled A Court of Thorns and Roses. Thank you! Alright, that was it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I will hopefully see you again in another one very, very soon. Goodbye!